Hello and welcome back to the Bliss podcast with your host Chantal, where we discuss all things mindset, manifesting and spirituality. If you're ready to experience your most blissful life, then keep on listening. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to this new podcast episode. We are going to talk about consistency and discipline today. And do you think it's actually achievable? So everyone always says, oh, you will not always be motivated, but you need to always be disciplined, or consistency is key, right? So I've heard myself say those things a lot of times, but I feel like I never really actually grasped the entire meaning of it. Like I know what it means, but I never fully integrated it into my life. And I've also never really applied them to the fullest. I would say myself that I grasped the concept and I have the know-how. However, actually sticking to things is sometimes a bit hard to me. And this might not be the New Year's energy that you might want right now, but we're getting into it right now and we're going to make it actually better and kind of a better energy than we're having right now. So just stick with me. So yesterday I've been meditating and I had this sort of download and I wrote it down here because to me it was really like a mind blow moment, and it completely changed the perspective and the outview I had on consistency and discipline. And I think it was actually a moment where I was like, oh, first of all, I need to talk about this on the podcast because this was like, what the hell? And on the other hand, it was also really enlightening to me, and I think that might have changed the entire way I approach things now when it comes to sticking to my goals. So I'm going to read it for you now because I wrote it down immediately, which I would advise you to do, by the way. Like if you have like a very strong thought, write it down because otherwise you're really going to forget. So if I would have trust and faith in the universe to support me and bring me on the right path, I would stay consistent. I wouldn't get demotivated when not seeing results because I would have full trust in my abilities and in the universe. So suddenly this topic crazy to me. This topic was not only my lack of self-persistence anymore, it became something spiritual. Because technically what I realized is this: if I would be consistent and stick to everything 100%, there's no going back, and I will achieve anything I want. I'm very certain of that. And also that I've set my mind to, but I would also need to change completely the person I am today, and I would need to be able to metamorph into that new person. So achieving everything you want and getting everything you've set your mind to sounds great, right? Yes, but it's really meaning to get out of your comfort zone and changing your identity, and that was not clear to me before. To some of you it might sound like, wow, yeah, I knew this before, but wait, stick with me here. Because it's sort of like a spiritual death and rebirth, because you need to let the old person, the old version of you die. Sounds very extreme, but in some way it's true. Also, the entire version of you with the old behavior patterns that you hold, to invite actually a new and better version of you into your life. So yeah, as I already said, like some of you might say, yeah, I'm already aware, Chantal, like what are you telling me here? Tell me something I don't know. Well, do you actually think you know it? Do you really? Do you feel like you understood the entire concept that I just brought to you? Because do you actually understand the spiritual layer that's underneath this? Because I didn't before, and that's why I'm highlighting it out again to you. This changed the way in which I felt about manifestation and in which I felt about discipline and sticking to my goals, because it made me feel supported rather than stressed. So before, when I set a goal, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna stick to this for such a long period of time. Like, do your SMART goals, right? Like, do them achievable, do them like timely, manage them properly, all of that, so that it's actually achievable for you. However, it also always came with a bit of stress because I was like, if I don't stick to this again, then I'm really not consistent. And I hold this limiting belief about myself that I'm simply not a consistent person, and I do not tend to stick to things. So this was always a bit of a stress factor for me because I felt like every single time I needed to prove something to myself and to others. But now it gave me some sort of peace, actually, because I felt very supported and I felt like there is a way different approach to things, and I just need to have trust and faith that everything is going to work out. The thing is, I teach all of this on the podcast all the time, but then when it comes to applying it, like in a consistent manner, then I lag. And I was like, what is happening, So, as I said, this changed something in me. Because what we often tend to forget is this: we are not machines. We cannot function without taking breaks. And we need balance in our lives. So, at least for me, as a very sensitive person, my body tells me immediately if I'm putting myself in too much stress. So, actually, to the point where I cannot do anything anymore besides laying down in bed. Now that I'm saying this, it actually dawns me that discipline and consistency are necessary, yes, but they are not maintainable without balance. And I've recently started reading a book by Grace Beverly, and she talks about the big gap in our current society between the hustle culture and the self-care culture. And being consistent and disciplined is definitely one of the things I see on those social media channels I would count towards the hustle culture, where spirituality can most of the time be counted towards something more like self-care. So whereas my take on this is, like I already said before, balance is the key. We need balance, and it's given in nature, sort of like yin and yang and male and female energy. We cannot function without it. And I really don't mean to say things now like you need a work-life balance. Yeah, duh, of course you do. Like, we know that, right? Everyone says that all the time. I'm sick of it. So, no, I'm saying that you can also feel fulfilled and accomplished by combining both these things. So, combining the self-care culture and the hustle culture, combining discipline with spirituality. Probably you are already implementing consistency into your life. You maybe don't even know it yet. Maybe you're getting up at the same time every day, or you're making your same OG breakfast, or you're going for your daily walks. It doesn't matter. There are things that you do every single day that make you feel good, or you take that shower in the morning or in the evening. So you already have your routines, you already stick to your goals. It's not like an entire new concept to you. We can also take it a step further and say you, for example, meditate each day or you read every day. Very loosely put, you invest every day a few minutes into yourself, ideally. So who says here that this is not discipline nor consistency? This for me just means that you already have it within you, that you're capable of maintaining a routine, and that you can actually stick to your goals. Even if you're doing none of the things I've just said, you are still capable. There's nothing you cannot do. And that's what I really want you to know, that the only one standing in your own way is you. And you need to overcome your limiting beliefs. You need to overcome your own self-doubt and your negative self-talk, because otherwise you're really going to stick in the same area of your life forever. The only thing is you need to be ready for that sort of spiritual death and becoming a new version of yourself. And you need to be ready to actually create that life for you, and be aware that there is no going back from the beautiful life that you're going to create. It can start with something very simple, like reading every day or meditating every day. Like, these are things that can already have a huge impact on your life. If you want to have more about some habits that you can implement this year, I also made a podcast episode about that, so check that out. So please cancel out negative affirmations like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I am not consistent, I simply cannot do this, I never stick to anything, or it is simply not for me. Don't say those things to yourself. Stop saying those things, because I am a person who said those things before. I'm a person that just in the beginning of this podcast said it like 5 times. But I'm also just learning, and I also need to figure out and learn to not say that anymore. So we're going to work on this together, I think. What I've had before were thoughts like, if I'm not able to stick to those things, then probably I don't want them badly enough. Maybe these are not as big dreams as I thought they were. That's bullshit. That's so bullshit. Not saying it's bad to reflect upon your own actions, not at all. But questioning yourself like this, instead of going at it with love and compassion, will only repeat the old story. It will not help you. It will not support you. You will not support yourself. And then you're just gonna stick in that same old cycle of self-doubt and not feeling worthy of things. And then you're not gonna get out of that, for sure. So how can we all, as unmotivated and occasionally unproductive people, attention, negative affirmation right there, how can we actually implement healthy and sustainable changes in our lives? Good question, right? Yeah, so if you're still with me and you still want to take those steps, then I want to share some advice that I have for you. My first tip would be slowly start getting into a routine, create a routine. Because it's like, so for example, just waking up at the same time, or going for walks, going to the gym, moving your body. You can just take one small task and implement it every day. It doesn't need to be something major, just one small task. And I think that's way more achievable and maintainable than doing a bunch of things at once. That's why I'm also not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, because everyone tries to get everything done at the beginning of the year, and then they stick to it for 1 or 2 weeks and then they're done. So I think I already said in another episode, like at the latest in February or March, everyone is done with their New Year's resolutions anyways. So we are not going to do this. We are going to build up on it gradually. Like implementing one small task will actually show you that you're capable of maintaining and achieving this. So quick pop quiz here. How long does it actually take to build a habit? Ding, 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 21 days, correct. Okay, so you can build up on that by adding more things to your routine after those 21 days. But what we first need to do is get clear on our intentions. Because why do we want to be consistent? Why do we want this habit? And what is the root of our desires? Why do we want to be that person? What even is that person like that we want to become? So if you have all that figured out, then it's time to tell others, like friends and family, about your habits and your goals, and ask them to hold you accountable. I've did that many times and it helped me immensely. It just puts you in that situation where you're like, I want to prove this to others as well, not only to myself. And they're gonna ask you. And I have to say, sometimes it builds up a bit of resentment in me, because sometimes I'm like, why do you always want me to go to the gym? But then I'm like, you want me to go to the gym because I told you to remind me of that, right? So it's just a good thing. Just do it. It's just a tip. Do it. It helps. So my last advice here is be ready to let go of the person that you are right now. You need to be fully ready to transform and go through that metamorphic process of becoming a different and better version of you. So stop doing the things you did before, because apparently they did not really work for you. They also didn't really get you where you wanted to be, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this right now. So don't always walk the same way on your walk. Don't always meet up with the same people. Don't eat the same breakfast every day that you used to eat. Like, change up some things in your routine, go to different cafes, or completely change your style and the way you look. So whatever it is, you can do minor changes in your life that are maybe even like surface level changes, but these can actually change your world around, because these are things that are going to change your energy and create new opportunities for you. Because if you don't step outside of your box and your comfort zone, you're not going to be able to actually create anything you want into your life. So in my opinion, the most motivating and most triggering, like positively triggering factor is embodying the energy of the person that you want to become. Because the person that you, or also I, want to become, they wouldn't procrastinate on a lot of things, or they would not sleep till 10 a.m. in the morning. At least for me, they wouldn't. Or for example, eat healthier, like, and so on and so forth. Like, there's so much more that can be said here, but it's all about your personal preferences and on what you want. After all of this, what we just talked about, I want to invite you to do a challenge with me. So let's start a 3-week challenge on Monday, after this podcast came out. Because Monday, I feel like I love Mondays. I don't know, I think they always give such a great energy of new beginnings and new chances. So let's start upcoming Monday. I don't know which day it is then, but upcoming Monday. And we hold each other accountable. We are the community that's gonna stand there and it's gonna actually check in with each other. So if you're in, you can follow me on the blissful on Instagram or on my personal account and update me on your new habits that you want to form. I just want to let you know that you are not alone. You can do this. And we are all a bit lost sometimes, to be honest. So you need to just have trust in yourself and the energies around you, that sometimes way better things are out there for you. So happy manifesting, and I can't wait to hear from you all. And if you're listening to this podcast on Apple or Spotify, I would also highly appreciate if you leave a 5-star rating or a review. I would really love that, and it would mean the world to me. I will leave you with that now. Have a blissful day, and I hear you next week. Bye!